Well, let's go ahead and get started here. I want to thank you all for being here today and thank Johns Hopkins University to join us and share their information and talk a little bit more about the pathway to grad programs, and then also maybe just highlight some of the medical field and the capacity to move into medical school as well. We will, as always, the chat box is open for you to ask questions as we move along. I will be trying to facilitate some of those, and we will also have some time at the end of the presentation, towards the end of the presentation, to sort of open up for some more dialogue. But to begin with, I want us to all take a moment just to acknowledge the land that you're on, acknowledge your ancestors and all the people that you bring with you into the room. Ask them to help you and guide you and help you to be more present and to learn what it is that what you're here to learn, and help us to be better to have a capacity to do what we're supposed to be doing here together in general. All right, so thank you. I'm going to go ahead and let our guests introduce themselves, and then we will just let them go and start and present. Just to let you know, I'm Jack Soto. I'm the Senior Program Manager, Navajo Kokopah Senior Program Manager for Career Readiness and Employment at the College Fund on the Student Success Services team. And again, I want to thank you for all being here, and I'll turn it over to Olivia, and then you can introduce Sophie.
Great, thank you so much for having us. We're really appreciative of you allowing us to share this information with you all, and very excited to hear about all your questions and hopefully give you answers to them. I'm just going to quickly share my screen, and then we'll introduce ourselves. Okay, Yat She Olivia Trujillo Yenishe, Anshihen Nishlan Tinsakani Bushichin Kia Ani Dashache Dobit Ahni Dashanele. Hello, everybody. My name is Olivia Trujillo. I am a member of the Navajo Nation. I reside in Baltimore, Maryland. However, I'm calling in from my hometown of Fruitland, New Mexico, near the Navajo Nation. And I'll turn it over to Sophie right now to introduce herself. Thank you all.
Ayuki Nanithweum Sophie Panamnik Niaram Siprati. Nam Karugwa Arar. Hi, my name is Sophie Neuner. My pronouns are she, her. I am a physician and a public health practitioner, a research associate with the Johns Hopkins Center for American Indian Health. As Olivia said, we are really excited to be here with you all today. I think this is such an inspiring time for a lot of you guys, and we are really, we are so happy to be able to be here with you guys today. Maybe as we go through our presentation, you can think about any questions that you have, and just really, I mean, we'll reinforce this and give you guys our contact information at the end of this session, but you as the upcoming generation of Indigenous researchers, of Indigenous physicians, you are really who our work is about, in a sense. So we are here to do anything to make sure that you are successful on your paths, and we are here really wishing you guys the best of luck, and ready to give you guys any advice, information, resources that we can to help you be successful on your paths. So Yodwa, thank you for the opportunity to be here with you today.
Great. And then just to give you guys a little background. So we do have quite a bit of slides to share with you today and a lot of information, but please, just like Sophie said, feel free to stop us at any time, put questions in the chat just so that we can answer it. Like I said, we just want you to get the most out of this presentation as possible. And just to give you a little bit of an overview of what we're going to talk about today is I'm just going to share a little bit of background information, like a short overview of our center and kind of the projects that we do and what we provide to not only the community in Baltimore, but also to some of the tribal communities that we do work with. And from there, we will start talking about like how to apply to graduate programs and medical school, as well as give background information on one program we would really encourage you to apply to before transitioning into graduate school. So like I said, there is a lot of information, so just bear with us and just let us know any questions, and we will get started now. Let's see if I can. Okay, so just to give a little bit of background information on our center. It was founded in 1991 at the Johns Hopkins School of Public Health. We've had about 10 prior years of working with Southwestern tribal communities, and our core mission is to work in partnership with Native American communities to raise the health, education, and leadership to the highest possible level, as well as overcoming profound racial, economic, and political inequities. So that's one thing we're really trying to push forward, as well as get more Indigenous health leaders trained and ready to kind of work in their own communities, as well as other Native communities as well. We have in the past worked with primarily, like I said, the Southwestern tribal tribes, basically in on the Navajo Nation, the Hopi Reservation, as well as the White Mountain Apache Reservation. So that's where a lot of our satellite sites are located currently. And our center does serve 140 plus tribal communities right now across 21 states. And this next slide gives you a little bit more insight of where our programs are at this point. So the blue highlighted states are where our partnerships are located. So where a lot of our programs have been kind of replicated, as well as taught in these different areas. A lot of them have tribal communities have changed some of the language as well so that it fits their communities. And the maroon boxes are where our satellite sites are currently located. So we do have 9 satellite sites in the southwestern area. Our kind of hub site or our main site is in Baltimore, and we are so excited to have added a new site in Duluth up in the northern part of Minnesota. So that's one thing we were really excited about, to reach different tribes up there as well and have an actual hub for us to work more with those tribes up there. So this is just kind of a map of where all of our offices are and the populations that we're able to serve. And just to kind of give you a little insight of what type of divisions our center offers, we do have one division that is our biomedical or infectious disease prevention area. So these programs and studies primarily focus on at the moment, like vaccine trials or getting people vaccinated with the COVID-19 that's currently obviously in the mix right now. But of course, in the past, they've worked on RSV and other studies that have affected younger generations in the past. So they do have a lot of, I feel like this was one of the first divisions that was started within our center. So they do have a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge to offer to different tribes in that area. And the next area of our division is the behavioral and mental health. So we do offer a lot of projects that deal with obesity prevention, suicide prevention. To be honest, this is probably one of our larger divisions. So there is a numerous amount of projects that are being conducted under this department. And I know Sophie does work in part with our training program, which I'll explain next, as well as this division as well. So if you do have any questions about that, feel free. But of course, this is just a small overview of what our center does offer. And then the third aspect or third division is our training program, which I feel like would be of most interest to you all because we do offer courses as well as support for students who are looking to further their education in the future. So this is kind of the department that Sophie and I work on primarily. So we do have a lot of information to give you about this project. So this is kind of what we'll go more in depth into during this presentation. So one question that we always get is, what will I do after graduation? So find a job, attend graduate school. But one thing that we would suggest is to attend our institute courses. And this just gives a chance for students to kind of get a feel for graduate school without having to go through the whole application of applying to graduate school at the time, but also you're able to get graduate level courses while taking these courses. So just an overview about our institute. What is it? It is a short break in the January and July terms. So it's between the regular terms of Johns Hopkins courses, but students can complete 10-week-long courses. So this only requires like 1 week out of your, I know a lot of you are very busy working school, so this is a great opportunity for you to get, like I said, graduate level courses in a short amount of time. However, it is very intensive, especially now that we have gone fully online with these courses. So it's a bit of a transition, but we're working with it. And where are these classes typically? So typically they are held in Baltimore, the School East Campus in Baltimore, like I said. So usually that's where they're held. But for the time being, they are online and will be online until winter 2022 for now. And when do these institutes happen? They happen during July. For now, obviously, being that we are online, we've kind of spread out the courses just so that people don't have to be on Zoom all day long to attend a course. So they are, for this summer, the courses are spread out a little bit. So we do offer courses in July and August as well. So there are 3 different weeks that we're offering these courses. And I will go in the presentation, there's exact dates of when these are offered. And in the winter, we offer these courses in January. So just to kind of give you a little bit of a time frame of when these would be happening. And these are currently the courses that we offer. So we do have 3 required courses if you are interested in pursuing a full certificate. So I will also tell you about our certificate program. But these are just courses that all of the courses that are currently being offered, and we are excited to announce that these courses are public health related, but also looked at through an Indigenous lens. So we do have Indigenous faculty that teach these courses. We do have guests that come in and talk about their experiences while working in Native communities. So it's really an exciting time to get to know Native faculty, but of course also Native students who are also working on their degrees as well as working in their community. And to go a little bit more in depth in our certificate program, so what our institute consists of is, like I said, all those classes are available to be taken. However, if you are interested in obtaining a full certificate, a public health certificate, you're able to, this is actual like a real degree from Johns Hopkins. So that's one thing that we encourage people to start taking institute courses. And once you are able to obtain credit for these courses, we do encourage students to apply to graduate school, just because these courses can be transferred into a master's in public health program in the future. So let's see. So this application, there is an application through the Sophis Express website, and this is just the kind of complete application of public health schools, or the common application, excuse me, for public health schools. And there are deadlines to complete this application if you are interested in applying. And what this certificate entails is that you would need to complete 18 credits. So I will go back to kind of the courses that I've showed previously, but you are required to take the 3 courses, and then the last 5 courses are electives. So you can choose, depending on the topics, which one you're most interested in. And this certificate program, they require you to complete it in 3 years. So one thing we would suggest is that you don't necessarily have to apply to this program right now. We usually suggest students take at least 1 or 2 courses just to kind of get the feel of being back in school. I know some students are working now and trying to get back in school. So I feel like this is a great transition for you if that's the area you're in. And it just kind of gets your feet wet into what kind of what the curriculum entails, doing homework again, working in groups. So it gives you that opportunity to kind of regain those skills back as well. And then, like I said, once you take these courses, you have credit, graduate level credit, and they can be transferred into a master's program. And I said I would refer back to these courses just so that you have a better understanding of what is required for completing this full certificate. Is that the top 3 highlighted in blue are our required courses, and we feel like these courses are the foundation to public health. So it gives you a real kind of well-rounded experience of learning different topics in public health. And then the boxes highlighted in green are the ones that you can kind of pick and choose to see which topics you are most interested in. So you only have to take 5 of those elective courses. And so going on to reasons to take individual institute courses. This is kind of reiterating what I said before. You're a first-time institute participant. You're only interested in a specific topic or a specific area, so we totally understand that. Or like I said, you're trying out 2 to 3 courses to see how you do like them. Just the workload as well, getting used to, I feel like that's one thing that's great about being able to take 1 institute course, as well as you're not interested in committing to a full program right now. So I feel like that just gives you options in a sense to be able to take these courses and to get more knowledge about the public health field, but also not having to decide exactly what you want to do at that point. And we do, like I said, recommend you taking at least 1 or 2 courses before applying to the program, just because of that 3-year limit that they require. Because I feel like once you do apply, you kind of have to keep coming and taking courses consistently to finish in that amount of time. So this one just gives you a kind of short leeway to decide exactly how you want to complete the program and when. So that's just why we suggest taking a couple courses at a time.
Olivia, if I can interrupt you really quick, we have a few questions in the chat.
Oh, no worries.
So one of these questions was, does our program help students in applying to a graduate program? And well, we can get to that question later. I don't want to interrupt your workflow, but maybe we could address the question about whether any of these courses are epidemiology based.
Yes, so let me go back really quick. One of the course, it's not necessarily epidemiology based, but I feel like the first course, an interdisciplinary approach to understanding the health of American Indians, that's kind of our main foundational course. So this gives a lot of background information on all of the different topics in public health. So it does give you kind of an entry level or intro to epidemiology in one of the lectures during the day, but it also gives you a lecture on environmental health, on mental health, and on policy. So I feel like that's the course that provides a little bit of epidemiology in the mix. The rest of the courses, I feel like we don't have much of an emphasis on epidemiology, except for maybe data management. They kind of teach you techniques of how to use um, different like ways of obtaining information, of conducting studies, of how to analyze data in that sense. So I feel like that course would be maybe the second course to take if you are interested in epidemiology. But one thing to also make note is that the school at Johns Hopkins, they have a whole bunch of certificate courses that they do offer, and they have their full epidemiology certificate programs on their sites as well. So that's one thing to know, is that you can basically take any of these courses as like a institute course, and they're the same way. I feel like the epidemiology course does go a little bit more in depth, so it is a little bit longer than a week. I want to say off the top of my head that it is 3 weeks to complete that certificate or that course on epidemiology. So that's one thing I would suggest. But of course, there is more information on some of the certificate programs that the school offers. This is just the one that our center offers, and we just kind of want to introduce it to other Native students if they are interested in learning this information.
Olivia, that I just wanted to play off of that because I think that, getting to the question, so the thing that you're kind of conveying is that certificate programs through the Johns Hopkins School are helpful in preparing the student to apply for graduate school, because it's not necessarily a graduate program, but it is helping them sort of like get the experience of sort of being a part of moving forward with their plan to get a graduate degree. And to that, there was another question, like, this is not just public health, but this is not the only program that Johns Hopkins offers, which you just mentioned. So there are a variety of different program pieces out there that are also certificate based. And you probably will present on some of that later on today at the 1 to 2:30 presentation about this with the other health schools. But I think that, another, vital information piece is to think about, like, how does one approach thinking about their degree in public health, and how does this program sort of open up the dialogue about the different sort of, in quotes, sectors and program pieces that can happen over time. So I think that you're kind of touching on that, but I just wanted to sort of pull that out a little.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I said, a lot of these just kind of hit the surface of these topics just because it is such a short amount of time to be together in class. Like I said, it's about 1 week to kind of learn about this topic. So I feel like it kind of just gives you an introduction to these, and this provides you kind of a sense, or gives you a sense of um, the answering the question of what you want to do or what you want to study or what interests you. So I feel like this gives you the chance to kind of pick and choose, maybe even if you are not really interested or aren't really familiar with a certain topic. Some students tend to take those courses as well, just to see like what it's about and to see like maybe they would like it in the future as well. And in terms of like applying to grad school, I know Sophie said there was a question about, do we help in applying to grad school? I feel like once you do take these courses, the faculty really get to know you as a student. So if you are one of those students who has been out of school for a while, I feel like this is a chance to get to know new faculty members, and they could be the ones to provide you with recommendation letters in the future if you are looking to apply. Like I said, they can help, or we like to help you kind of map out your quest as well in your career. So we do, I will talk about like a scholarship opportunity for these classes. So if you do receive a scholarship, we really like to keep up with our recipients and kind of reach out to see where they're at, what they want to do in the future, and see how we as a center can provide support. Like I said, we definitely want more Indigenous students at Hopkins, but of course we want more Indigenous students at all programs in general as well, just in higher education and teaching future leaders. So that's our ultimate goal, but of course we would love you to come to Hopkins. So just to keep that in mind. And thanks for manning the chat.
Oh, sorry. Also, just sort of quickly bouncing off that. So you will get credits for these classes, and those credits are something that you can actually apply to grad school. And I believe that if you do the full certificate program, you have somewhat, Olivia, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like 18 credits or something.
Mm-hmm.
So it is
Yes,
a
correct.
fair amount of credits. Just for reference, I think, and please don't quote me on this because I already forgot. I already pushed it to the back of my mind, but for my MPH certificate, I think I needed like 75 credits. So these 18 credits really are a lot of credits, and you can actually use those credits if you enroll in a course at Hopkins, but also if you enroll in public health schools across the country. And I do believe that some of those credits should also carry over, even if you are in a different field. So even if you are getting your degrees in health communications, etc. That, of course, is something that you would have to talk to about and verify with the university that you're planning to attend. But I think that that is another really valuable thing, because if you take these certificate classes, you will really start, you not only have a foot in the door, I guess, with Hopkins, one could say, because you really do have a foot in the door. We really will do everything to support our students. We'll help you with your application process. We'll advise you on how best to write that application, and also write you letters of recommendation. So, you know, beyond that, you'll also already have like about 20% of a one-year master's degree completed if you've completed these certificate courses. So I think that's another thing that makes our coursework really attractive. And then back to the epidemiology question, I do believe that we also have some epi in intro to quantitative and qualitative research methods. But like Olivia said, these are entry-level courses. You won't be learning too many specifics, but they are a really good foundation for any coursework that you will take in the future. So sorry, Olivia, I feel like I threw off your presentation.
Oh, no worries.
I apologize.
I feel like it's our time to kind of move on to the application process as well. So let's see, let's keep moving. And then just to give you guys a heads up that these are the current courses we're offering this summer. So collecting and analyzing and using public health data in American Indian communities. This will be the week of July 12th. But of course, we could also send everybody who's on this call information to register, as well as the scholarships as well, so you can have more information on this. The other course is Early Childhood Research with Tribal Communities, and this will be happening the week of July 19th. So just a heads up, I did put the course goals in here, but I know it's kind of a lot to read at the moment, so we will definitely forward on this information to you so you do have it. And the third course is Intro to American Indian Health Research Ethics. And this will be happening from August 16th through the 20th, just to kind of give you those dates. And okay. And so scholarships. So we do offer scholarships to attend these institute courses. And I feel like if you are interested in taking this for credit, like this is definitely one scholarship to apply to. Just like Sophie said, they are able to transfer into master's programs in the future, either at Hopkins, or we do try to work with you as well if you are going to attend another program as well, to get those credits transferred to that specific program. But our courses right now, the registration is open. We do have scholarships available, so definitely please apply. We are looking for new students every year to take part in our institute courses. The deadline has been extended to May 15th, so you still have time to get this application in, to request for recommendation letters as well as your transcripts. But of course, if you do have any information or any questions, like I said, I could send you guys the link out specifically, but we do have the application online on our website at caih.jhu.edu, and it's under our scholarship tab. So feel free to just look on our website and the application is there. My information is also on the website, so if you do have any questions or come into any trouble submitting, please feel free to email me. And these scholarships are available for all tribal members. We also open it up to students who don't have a tribe that's not federally recognized, just because we understand that some people don't have a federally recognized tribe, and we understand that, and that makes it harder for those individuals to get scholarships. So we do, like I said, work with you a lot to get your classes paid for. And the scholarship includes tuition, so we do pay tuition for one course at Institute. However, when we hopefully go back to in-person, this scholarship does include tuition paid for, your round trip flight to Baltimore and back, and also a hotel stay for the week, just so that you're able to be in Baltimore and take classes on campus. So that's what the scholarship includes usually when we're in person. I just also wanted to make a note that there is another scholarship for White Mountain Apache tribal members. So this is the NARCH scholarship, and their deadline is July 7th. So it's the same thing. They provide scholarship for tuition, being that we are online. But of course, when we're in person, they offer the same amount of scholarships or cover the same amount of expenses in that scholarship as well. And if you are White Mountain Apache, I would encourage you to contact Ryan Grass, because he is the program coordinator for that NARCH scholarship. So if you do have any questions about that, we can definitely get you in touch with him.
Olivia, a quick question. The scholarships for the training specifically, is that open to undergrads as well as graduate students? Or is it just for students who have recently graduated to?
Great question. So we do highly encourage it just to be for students who already have their bachelor's degree, just so that they can obtain graduate level courses or credit. So that's the main reason why we ask that students have a bachelor's degree, just so that they can get that credit under their belt, basically. Otherwise, if they're undergraduates, they would have to take it for non-credit. So I feel like that students do tend to take it for non-credit sometimes, but I feel like when they're ready to, or when they graduate, they would have to retake that course for credit anyway. So I feel like it's easier to always just take it once. So, okay, so moving on, how to apply to graduate programs. So of course, before you apply, you always want to do your research. You want to look into seeing if the school is a CEPH accreditation, as well as just you know yourself. So you want to see what type of research centers and affiliations are associated with those schools, as well as the size of the institution and the amount of support that they can offer. So I know sometimes, like I said, you do want to do your research. You want to look into the schools that that pertains to your interests, because a lot of schools don't have the same curriculum. They don't offer the same programs. So it's definitely a good thing to look into those different things when you're researching schools. And just like this quote says, if you've seen one school, you've only seen one school. So you want to definitely look into other schools and see what they provide as well. And then some of the obviously basic admission requirements is that you need to have a bachelor's degree when applying for graduate school. Some schools also require standardized test scores. So if that happens, you also want to put into account like when the test day is. Will the scores be in time? Will the scores be ready in time for your application to be submitted? You also want to keep in mind of the people you want to reach out to for letters of recommendation, as well as I feel like this is something I have trouble with, is always keeping my resume and CV updated. Sometimes I feel like, oh, I haven't done anything recently, but you definitely want to include everything on your resume, research experience, any type of skills that you might have added, any certifications as well. So I feel like once you have completed something, it's always good to keep those updated just so that it's easier when it comes time to submit your application. And personal statement. I feel like I always have a hard trouble writing about myself and kind of what I've done throughout the years. So I feel like this is one thing that our center also helps with, our training program, is that we like to look over personal statements from people and kind of help you out where we can. So if you do have a draft written up and you would like somebody to look over it, I know I actually went through the application process. Sophie has went through the application process. So I feel like we have an understanding of what the school asks for. But of course, like I said, do your research. Every school is different. Sometimes they require different things in their personal statements. So it's always good to look at the specific requirements for each school that you're applying to. And just to be a little bit more specific about what Hopkins requires. So what Hopkins admission requires is that you need to submit an application through the SOFUS website. So that's the like the standard, or kind of like the common application for public health schools. And I actually had to use this process not too long ago, and it's actually pretty user friendly. So if you are interested in public health schools, this is a great way to kind of just start uploading different documents into the site, and it saves all that information for you. And even to the point where I feel like I was always having the goal of applying to graduate school, and it kind of got pushed back a little. So last year when I was applying and I didn't actually submit it, it still like saved all of the information I put in. And when I opened it up again this year, it had all of my previous information in there already saved. So it was a little bit easier for me, so I could just like update documents as well. But of course, you have to upload transcripts, your 3 letters of recommendation you can upload through there as well, your resume, personal statement, and test scores. And also it asks you like which specific schools you want to apply to. So they have a whole list of all the public health schools that require this application. And it's kind of easy. You just like pick and choose which school you want to apply to, and then it adds it into like your little queue. And then it also gives you like specific documents that each program requires. So your personal statement, you upload it to that personal school. If they require any other documentation for that specific program, they also have that on your little portal as well. So it's really user friendly. And then just a little bit insight into the Bloomberg School. So the student life, I feel like there are many students coming from all different, I feel like, places from around the world as well. Actually, Sophie went through this program, so I don't know if she wants to add anything to this area.
Yeah, absolutely. So I did my MPH last year. I graduated in May 2020. So I think like a lot of you, you know, the last year has been kind of crazy, and it was kind of a crazy year to graduate. And I feel like that's been ongoing. But I came to Hopkins in July of 2019 to do my 1-year MPH. And this 1-year MPH program is for students who I believe have 3 years of prior health experience. So this is kind of an accelerated program. But yeah, it was a really, really interesting and very challenging experience in many ways, but also really fun. And I feel like I gained a lot of skills during my time at Hopkins. I can only agree with what Olivia said. There are really students from all around the world, and that has a huge benefit because you're really learning from all of these inspiring people who are really trying to do the best for their home communities and walk that good walk. And that's really cool to be able to connect with so many different students who have, similar goals than you in some ways, but might bring different perspectives. Let's see. And in general, yes, there are so many different research opportunities at the Johns Hopkins School of Public Health. It's the largest school of public health in the world. And, that really has also a lot of benefits, because you really, any kind of research you're interested in, you can do at Hopkins. I think a real benefit to me, and the reason I came to Hopkins, was because of the Center for American Indian Health, because I was really intimidated to sort of enter a program where, I wouldn't be able to work with other natives. Like, I'll be honest, that was a big motivator, the fact that we do have some Native faculty. Of course, we could have more, and we could have more Native students. I'm not trying to say that, Hopkins is all that great in terms of Native representation. I'll be completely transparent about that. But we do have an incoming class of, I think, 10, correct me if I'm wrong, Olivia, 10 master's and PhD students who are Indigenous. We have, I think, over 10 Native faculty. And for me, having that type of community was really what I wanted to get out of my MPH, because, for me, at least, my goal was I wanted to learn about how I could promote public health in my own and other Indigenous communities. So there are those opportunities at Hopkins for you if that's something that you are seeking in your careers. I think getting an MPH is also a really great thing for folks who want to work in medicine. And I say that because I think medicine and public health really complement each other, right? For medicine, you're really looking at the individual and you're trying to help the individual patient. But your patients come from, are not isolated from their environments, right? They come from their communities, and their circumstances really often influence like the way that, you can help them in a sense. And that's, to me, where public health comes in, because public health looks at health in a more community-based way. And the beauty of public health is also that I will say that it's, while public health is a Western concept, just sort of the idea that our health is so much more than our individual health. It's the health of our communities and the health of the environment. That is something that, we really see echoed in the field of public health as it is now. So that is sort of like why I personally chose to get my MPH, just because as a practicing physician, I always wanted to have that public health lens. And as a public health practitioner, I always wanted to have that individual lens. So for those of you considering med school, I think the MPH can be a really good way to sort of supplement your career as a physician. I think it can also help you get into a med school. If that's something that you are thinking, I would hesitate to recommend anybody just get an MPH to get into medical school, right? Like, don't get an MPH unless you're really interested in public health. It's an expensive degree. It's a hard degree. I mean, that being said, there are lots of scholarships available, right? So get yours. Let's not pay for the full MPH. Everybody get your scholarships. There's so many scholarships available. But that being said, yeah, don't apply to an MPH because you want to get into medicine. I'll talk about a few ways and programs that you can apply to if you're looking to go straight into medicine. But if you're interested in public health, then I think that is an awesome opportunity. Sorry, I feel like I've talked a lot.
Oh, no worries. I feel like I'm just going to kind of fly through these slides because I feel like it could be a part of the next presentation as well. So these are just some of the academic departments that are included in the School of Public Health. And these are different areas of study you can go into. And all of these pretty much offer those different certificate programs as well. So if you do have any interest in these different departments, they have their own curriculum set. Let's see. Like I said, I'm going to fly through these slides a little bit just so that I definitely want to be able to answer questions at the end. And these are different academic degrees versus professional degrees that are offered at Hopkins. There's 9 types of master's degrees, 2 types of doctoral degrees. And like I said, there's 20 different certificates offered to degree seeking students, but you could also take certificate courses as a non-degree seeking student as well. Okay, so these are like degree details. At the School of Public Health, there is the Masters in Public Health program, but also there are other Masters in Science, Masters in Health Administration programs as well that you can go into if interested in. The one thing that differs the MPH from all these other programs is that they do require at least 2 years of post-baccalaureate public health related experience. So that does require kind of like 2 years of working in research or working in Native communities with public health. So that's one thing that they do require at the School of Public Health at Johns Hopkins. If you're straight out of your bachelor's degree, like you just graduated, these are the other master's degrees that you're able to just go right into and apply for. So there's a Master of Bioethics, the Master of Health Administration, like I said, the Master of Science in Public Health. I know a lot of our Native scholars who have just graduated their bachelor's degree are doing that degree. Masters in Science, Masters in Health Science. So this just gives you options so that you don't have to have quite as much as 2 years experience. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. As well as the Masters of Art in Public Health and Biology. They have a lot of different programs, like I said, so I could talk about all these programs, but of course, in terms of time, I just kind of want to let you know that there are options. And just like Hopkins, I feel like all other graduate schools have just as many options as well. So that's why it is important to do your research and see the different programs that are offered. On top of like the School of Medicine or a medical degree, you could also get like a PhD or a Doctor of Public Health. So I know these are kind of a little bit further down the line after a master's degree, but also those are options as well.
Olivia, we have
And
a
of course,
question in the chat, sorry to interrupt, but about the 2 years, what if you were working at a clinic while completing your BA or BS? Do you have any answer to that?
Yes, so definitely those count. I feel like they definitely count up all the years of experience. So if you have like 6 months here, 2 months here, I feel like you need to let them know. I would list on the way I did it on my resume is that I put an actual chunk for research experience just so that they can see exactly how much experience I had and that it added up to at least 2 years. And then the rest I just put like professional experience. So my other jobs that I worked at that didn't necessarily have research included in it. So that's one thing that I liked or that I did just so that they could see all the experience that was included. But yeah, definitely that would count towards that experience. Let's see. And then funding resources. I just listed a lot of the resources that the financial aid office offers. But also I know there's a lot of scholarships offered to Native students. So I did put the American Indian College Fund on here, American Indian Service Scholarships, Association on American Indian Affairs Scholarships. There's the IHS Scholarship. I feel like even that, there's the ACES scholarship. There's a lot of different scholarships out there, and I feel like that could be doing research in itself. It's just collecting all that information on scholarships as well. Okay. Also at Hopkins, though, they do offer some scholarships to students who are accepted into the program. So there's institutional scholarships, so merit-based, depending on the specific department that you're applying into. They have scholarships. There's also the Bloomberg Fellowship Program, which is great if you are interested in obtaining a master's in public health. This is actually a full ride scholarship, but they do require you to work already with an organization and then kind of have a commitment with that organization to work with them a year after you graduate. So you do have to work in these 5 different areas. So addiction and overdose, environmental challenges, obesity and food systems, risks to adolescent health, and violence. So we do currently have, I want to say, 1 Native scholar who received the scholarship, and it is a full ride. They pay for everything as well as give you a $10,000 stipend for like living expenses. So it's a great thing to apply to as well. And then also the master's tuition scholarship, usually they will give you some scholarship on like a reduced tuition once you are accepted into the school as well. But yeah, I'm seeing all these great links to scholarships, so definitely look for them. And oh my gosh, I feel like we're cutting out on time. So career outcomes, I feel like one thing important is that what do graduates go into after receiving their degree? So it says the majority of people work at academic institutions, some work at healthcare services, other private companies, nonprofit organizations, US federal government, state and local government. So I feel like there's a wide variety of career places that people go into. But I feel like a majority of our Indigenous students return back to their communities to work as well. And then this is just more information on Hopkins. If you are interested in a campus tour, definitely we can get you in touch with those people. There's their contact information. I know we're running out of time, but I think we could fly through this. Did you want to go through this, Sophie, really quick for?
Yeah, so maybe we could just do this a little bit more informally because we are running out of time.
Yeah.
But we did want to talk a little bit about applying to med school, and a lot of the tips that I'll be giving you guys in these last few minutes are definitely something that tips and tricks that I have learned sometimes the hard way in applying to both MPH and medical schools. So these are kind of like general overview things. And I will also be linking you to some support systems that really helped me through med school and that have helped so many of my Indigenous physician friends. There's a big community of us out there and a growing community of us out there who have also accessed a lot of these support networks and who are all very willing to connect with you guys. So first things first, there are not a lot of Native physicians. I myself never met a Native physician until I attended the Association of American Indian Physicians conference. And that is the first organization I would like to link you guys with. That is the Association of American Indian Physicians, and they host conferences, including pre-admission workshops and other workshops that really help promote Natives into medicine. Their student group is the Association of Native Med Students, and I was a part of them throughout med school. And honestly, these organizations are so important because as Native students, you might be some of the only Native students in your school, in a pre-med track, in medicine. So having that community of folks who have all gone through similar experiences is so important. One tip I would like to give you, and these are just some, I feel like we hardly have any more time, but just tips and tricks I've picked up. So in terms of your CV, keep track of your CV at all times. Start today. It's really not fun. Nobody likes working on it, but keep a tab of your CV. And what I'm saying with CV is, I mean, not only just listing, your job description, your volunteer experience and the dates, but write a little bit of a paragraph for every experience you have, just a short paragraph that kind of answers like, what were you doing and what did you gain from your experience? Just a really short thing. And keep that Word document or Google document open at all times and just add to it. because you will refer back to that throughout your application process. And these descriptions are so important. For letter of recommendations, it's definitely the quality of the letter over the name. So whether you're going to be applying for med school or for an MPH degree, you will need letters of recommendation. So as you're walking through life, just think about like, who can I reach out to for a letter? And who can I reach out to for a letter, and make sure that that person can provide you with a really strong letter. So a strong letter that speaks to your character, that speaks to your work ethic, that spells out that you are one of the most amazing individuals they have ever met. Everybody needs that in their letter of recommendation. Like, people who review these letters like to see something like, oh, top 10% of students I've ever encountered, or some language like that, that just shows that you really like have shown throughout your experience with them. GPAs are important, but GPAs are not everything. Really important. I personally did not have the worst grades, but I definitely did not have the best grades. And I feel like people are often like, I don't know, I at least was very worried every time I got like a B, that would, you know, ruin all my chances at having the career I wanted. And boom, I have the career I want right now. So, you know, just take it with a grain of salt. It's important, but you know, you want to be at an institution that values you for who you are, and not for some, you know, just some arbitrary, you know, letters or numbers after your name. So keep in mind, GPA is important, but it's not everything. You can make up for it by your experience. Documents, oh my gosh. This really, I'm sorry to use an expletive, but it effed me over many, many times, the fact that I am terrible at keeping track of my documents. So have a folder where you put in all your diplomas, your birth certificates, et cetera, all of these documents that you will need for applying to graduate school or medical school. Jack, do we have time to, you know, talk for like 2 or 3 more minutes? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the students will stay on as long as they will, and we'll just, you know, I'll let you go. It sounds like good information, so keep going until you're done.
Okay, great. Yes, so keep track of all your documents. My sister actually, who is in law school right now, so she's all about these documents, made me make a binder where I put all my stuff in, and that is so helpful. Emails, okay, reach out to people. Anytime you attend a talk, you meet somebody at the hospital that you think is cool and you see yourself wanting to be like them in the future, you are inspired by them, just reach out to them through email. And that's something that I was really intimidated by, oh my gosh. Even like throughout med school, it's, you know, it's always so uncomfortable to reach out to people. But, you know, now that I'm sort of like on the other side of things, I am so thrilled every time I get an email from a student who is like, oh, I'm interested in a career in medicine. You know, I am really just thrilled every time I get an email like that. And that is also true for my colleagues, and especially my Indigenous colleagues. I think Native physicians and Native med students are really all about mentorship, because that's how we all got where we got. So reach out to folks. Don't be scared. It's intimidating. Don't overthink it. Just reach out to people, ask if they have time, you know, come with specific questions, but people really want to support you on your path. So let's see, experience, yes. So for medical school and for public health school, you'll need like an array of experiences, and those span sort of like clinical experiences for, you know, medical school, to research experiences, to volunteer experiences. This sounds super intimidating at first. At first I was like, oh my God, how am I gonna get all these experiences? They require all so much. But the truth is, if you take a look and if you really think back at your lives, I'm sure that you have so many experiences that you can draw from already. And that is, again, why it's so important to keep tabs of your CV. And literally every time you do something cool, like just write a little paragraph about it, because then you'll reflect back and you're like, oh, wait, okay, I did this and this and this, you know? And then in addition, like, For research or for clinical experiences, the same thing I said before, which is write an email, reach out, is true. So anytime you see somebody who's doing something awesome, just shoot them an email, and they'll be happy to help you set up a research experience or a volunteer experience if they can. So yes. And then for the personal statement, I've had to write so many personal statements. I'm sure you guys have too. It's so annoying. We all dislike it. But I think a really good way to think about that is, really try to make sure that your personal statement is something that complements your CV. So something that kind of matches your CV, but you don't want to list out all your accomplishments. What you really want to answer in that personal statement is, who are you? Where are you coming from? Why are you going where you are going? What do you want to accomplish in your life? So those are some questions that are actually things that can be so beneficial for us to reflect. In Karuk, there is actually a prayer that constitutes these questions. So before writing your statement, I urge you to just reflect on those questions, because they can really give you a direction to where you want to go in life, and really can help you beyond your personal statement. So use your personal statement as a tool to find out, what do you want? So then lastly, I want to say that, you guys are all in this really cool phase where you are trying to decide what you want to do for the rest of your life. That is hella intimidating, because we change, right? And what I want to impart on you guys is that you can decide on one thing and then you can change your mind throughout your life. Nothing is definitive. It's normal for us to change. And I myself, my career goals have changed a few times in my life. And that is, something that is okay. A lot of Native physicians have sort of these paths that aren't, the typical clear cut, honor roll, 4.0 GPA, then I went straight to medical school, then I went straight to residency. A lot of our lives aren't like that. Mine certainly has not been. And I am so grateful for that, And I think that is something that can really help us as humans, and then as physicians and public health practitioners, because we have so many different experiences to draw from. Jack just mentioned another tip in the chat, and that is to talk it out with friends, because they can help you figure out what you're trying to say. That is absolutely true. I am not going to lie to you guys. I ran my personal statement by literally all my family members, because I am very blessed with, having a bunch of siblings, and my mom and my stepdad are really good at, helping me think through things. They're really good writers. So yeah, I totally drew from my family and my community. They really supported me throughout this whole process. Even to this day, when I write an article or a paper, I ask them for help. So it's not a bad thing. I mean, you have to write your own personal statement, of course, but ask folks for help. Your support network is here to support you, and we are also here to support you. So if you're interested in a career in medicine or public health, don't hesitate to drop us an email. Don't be scared. It doesn't have to be more formal. Just say hey, I attended this seminar and I would just like somebody to talk to, and then we can set up a Zoom appointment or a call, or whatever you'd like. So I hope that these tips and tricks were somewhat helpful, and thank you again to Olivia for giving us this phenomenal presentation on everything that Hopkins has to offer. So, and thank you, Jack, for allowing us to be here with you today. It's a big privilege.
Great. Thank you so much, Olivia and Sophie, for your time, energy, and your just insights. And, the experience that you've shared have probably been very, way more useful than, we can even, begin to imagine. So I want to thank the audience for joining us today. And again, I've inserted my email. We at the College Fund do try to support students and trying to figure out what an experience looks like. And believe me, it's tough to know. And I think that, what Sophie said is that do something and see what that, and just ask me hey, will you help me? So I'm funding a student right now who impregnated a cow, and then she's taking those cows to market. So she's watching that, that process happen. And, the thing is that she's an ag student that we're just trying to support. Another student's like, well, I want to know what career fields look like in reference to animal science. So we're supporting her. She's actually going up to, I think it's Pine Ridge, to work with a vet team, to do some community-based veterinarian work. So it's like there are a number of ways that you can turn your interests and like the things that you just want to, in quotes, try into experiences that seem to make sense. It doesn't have to be a formalized internship program, although there are a lot of opportunities out there for Native students specifically who are wanting to go into health fields and also into medicine. So InMed is another program, and I forgot to put that into the link here, but you can check out those programs. And I know that they have a InMed program at the University of North Dakota, University of South Dakota, University of Arizona, I think Arizona State University, University of New Mexico, University of Minnesota, Twin Cities, or is it Duluth? I think it's Duluth. But those are some of the schools that you can search INMED, and some of those programs will pop up. And I think, as we're wrapping it up for me, I think that there's just so many things out there that we're just unaware of in reference to sort of being supportive. And the one thing I'm going to highlight again, Sophie mentioned it. If you're really serious about trying to, attempt a graduate degree, or just sort of sinking your teeth into like building a career path, join a professional association. Meet with those people. Those are your people. Those are the people who are gonna, like, you're not gonna have to dig too deep to sort of say like, hey, I want to be a physician, and they're gonna ask you the right questions because they're on that path. They've done it. They feel like they could be helpful. It may take a little bit of effort. I know that that sometimes they're busy, but at the same time, there are many people who know that if it wasn't for other people like them or people who came before them, mentoring and talking and sort of sharing wisdom is a part of our responsibility as just a community. So know that that is an option for you, and we have some tools at the College Fund, so you can reach out to me and find out what that looks like as well. So again, thank you all for joining us today. Thank the world, your land, your elders for being here with you, and thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you, everybody.
Jodå, Suenik.
Bye.